His alarm screamed at 5:47 a.m., but Marcus had already been awake for 3 minutes, staring at the ceiling of his cramped studio apartment. The eviction notice on his nightstand seemed to mock him in the dim morning light. 28 years old, $47 in his bank account, and a trail of failed ventures behind him, most people would have called it rock bottom. But Marcus whispered something different to himself. Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. He had read that quote from J.K. Rowling somewhere, and it had stuck with him through the darkest months of his life. Today marked day 127 of what he called the comeback protocol, his personal mission to transform his life one morning at a time. Marcus rolled out of bed and immediately made it with military precision. This wasn't about perfectionism, it was about winning his first victory before his feet hit the floor. How you do anything is how you do everything, he muttered, remembering the words that had changed his perspective 3 months ago. The morning routine was sacred. 5 minutes of meditation, 20 push-ups, a cold shower that made him gasp and feel alive, and then the most important ritual of all, writing in his journal. Today's entry began with a simple declaration: I am not a victim of my circumstances. I am the architect of my future. The words felt powerful flowing from his pen, but Marcus knew that feelings without action were just wishful thinking. He had learned this lesson the hard way after years of motivational videos and self-help books that left him inspired but unchanged. His phone buzzed with a notification, another rejection email from a potential employer. The familiar sting of disappointment crept in, but Marcus had developed a new relationship with failure. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts, he said aloud, channeling Churchill's wisdom as he deleted the email and opened his laptop. Instead of wallowing, Marcus dove into his side project, a small digital marketing service he had started from his kitchen table. The business was barely breaking even, but it was his. Every no from traditional employers had pushed him closer to betting on himself. His first client call was at 7 a.m. Sarah, a local bakery owner, was frustrated with her social media presence. As Marcus listened to her concerns, he realized something profound: his own struggles had given him genuine empathy for other people's challenges. His failures weren't just setbacks, they were credentials. Sarah, I understand feeling overwhelmed, Marcus said during the call. 3 months ago, I was facing eviction. But I learned that in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Let me show you how we can turn your passion into profit. The call went better than expected. Sarah not only approved his proposal but referred him to 2 other small business owners. By 9 a.m., Marcus had earned more than he had in the previous 2 weeks combined. But the real breakthrough came at 10:30 a.m. when his phone rang with an unknown number. The voice on the other end belonged to David Chen, a successful entrepreneur who had seen Marcus's content online. I've been watching your journey, David said. Your authenticity in sharing your struggles while building something meaningful, that's rare. I'd like to discuss a potential partnership. Marcus's hands trembled as he scribbled notes during the conversation. David was offering to invest in his digital marketing venture and provide mentorship. The opportunity was beyond anything Marcus had imagined when he woke up that morning. After the call, Marcus sat in stunned silence. Then he remembered another quote that had guided him through the hardest days. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. He had entered his cave of failure, disappointment, and near homelessness, and somehow found treasure on the other side. But this story wasn't about the phone call or the sudden opportunity. It was about the 127 mornings that came before it. The days when Marcus chose discipline over comfort, growth over safety, and action over excuses. It was about the small victories that nobody saw, the journal entries, the cold showers, the persistent outreach to potential clients, the refusal to let circumstances define his identity. That evening, as Marcus updated his journal, he wrote, "Today I learned that overnight success takes years of mornings. Every sunrise is a chance to rewrite your story, but only if you're willing to show up consistently, especially when you don't feel like it." He paused, pen in hand, and added, The morning is where champions are made, not in the spotlight, but in the silence of dawn when the world is still sleeping and you're busy becoming who you're meant to be. Marcus closed his journal and looked out his window at the city lights. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but he was no longer the same person who had woken up with $47 and an eviction notice. He was someone who had learned that transformation happens one morning at a time, one choice at a time, one victory at a time. Your life does not get better by chance, it gets better by change, he whispered, already planning tomorrow's victory. The alarm was set for 5:47 a.m. Day 128 of the comeback protocol was about to begin.